Welcome to the Port Charles Update with your hosts, Mish and Mel.
Hey Mel, how's it going?
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I actually lit a candle tonight for my youth. Do you know what happened this week?
What happened this week?
So I don't have a lot of time to I don't get to blow dry my hair on the regular. I don't get to look decent on the regular. So last night I'm blow drying my hair and I'm thinking, oh wow, is the light reflecting on a super dark strand of my
Oh boy.
hair? So I hold it and I'm like, what's up with this? So I go out there, I go outside, I'm like, hey Johnny, what's happening here? Is this what I think it is? And then he looks at the hair and he confirms, he's like, yeah, it was my first gray hair. But that's not even the worst part. Okay, fine, you have your
Okay.
worst gray hair, but the worst part is that as you hold the strand and take a closer look, the end of my hair was brown. So not only did I have my first gray hair, I got to see the moment my hair decided, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. Shield.
Yeah, welcome to
Isn't
the
that
club,
something?
my friend. It is something because I remember finding those and now I have a lot of them.
Yeah, so
I
it's yeah, it's been an amazing 2019 so far. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. A little dramatic. So, I mean, after the trauma, let's just jump right into a lot of what's going on in GH this week. It was a really, really good week. And if it's okay with you, I kind of want to start right at the beginning. So, like the leftover of the book launch.
Oh my goodness. Like when I watched it on Monday, I had to watch it twice because so many things happened. It was so jam-packed, major emotional roller coaster. Yes, let's do it. What do you want to talk about first? What
So
part?
there was a couple things that happened right at the start. So you know how well this is just a nod to stuff that you and I talk about. So you know we'd always talk about like why does Ava constantly show up at the Metro Court? And then there
Yes.
was actually a specific conversation between Sunny and Carly about like, oh well, we have an agreement to sort of let her be here. I thought that was really funny that they actually addressed it. But the other silly thing was, did you notice that when Michael and Lucas
Mhm.
walked into the Metro Court and Michael sees his mother talking to Ava and he gives that ooh look and like nudges Lucas? It was just so funny that they just
No,
looked
I didn't
over.
notice.
It was
I didn't
so, it
notice.
was hilarious because Michael had a strong facial reaction and they were just kind of like, oh, that's not going to end well. So I thought that was really funny. So aside from those little observations, what did you think about the interaction with Michael and Lucas? It was brief, the whole giving him money, giving a doctor money for their
I
child's
know, right?
education.
Because it's like talk about the levels of richness. CEO rich,
Dr.
quartermaid
Rich.
rich, doctor rich. Doctor rich is like poor in Michael's world, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, it looks as though they're kind of touching on, like they're really, I mean, maybe this means that this storyline is gonna start picking up some speed.
I think it's gonna pick up some speed because later on, the scene in Charlie's.
We're definitely going to get to that because there were so many good things that happened. So, okay, so we're at the Metro Court. We're having all these funny interactions. I definitely like the banter between Laura and Curtis.
Yes,
But I
it was
mean,
good.
didn't you? Okay, so Lulu comes in through the elevator. She's obviously hurt. Like, I mean, there's no disguising the fact that she was super stabbed. But it was just hell. But like the way that it was filmed, it was like everybody was reacting in slow motion.
Yes.
Michael and Sunny, like when they look, they still have smiles on their faces. And Lulu makes it like she literally walks like far amount to get to her mother. And Lucas, who is a doctor, kind of freezes. And none of that is in character. Sunny and Michael are usually quick to react. Lucas, as a doctor, is usually quicker to jump in. I don't know what you think about that, but like, I guess the moment I saw Laura have a scene with Lulu, I guess I realized, okay, well, this whole dramatic scene was meant for Laura, but with that, everybody else just looked ridiculous because for it to be Laura's scene, everybody else had to just stand there and watch Lulu walk all that way. It was weird.
It was weird, but I saw it in a different way because you know how we talked about last week? It was very throwback, that whole party. We wanted
Yeah.
to see a cat fight. We wanted to see water thrown in somebody's face.
We didn't
And then
get
right,
that. I thought we
no,
would with Lucy and Ava, but we didn't.
exactly. But Curtis and Laura were still toying with that idea. They were still talking about, he asked, who do you think would win? Lucy or Ava? Who
Yeah.
do you want to see win? So there was still that banter. So when she came out of that elevator, it really felt like an old school soap opera moment where everything just stops for a beat. nothing is truly real and only that one person is focused on. So for me, it was still a little bit in the throwback of what was happening of that night.
Wow. I actually kind of like that. It makes a lot more sense when you put it like that. And it's true. Like, look, there is, because you're right, GH is kind of fast paced when it comes to these action, really dramatic stuff. But yeah, there was something really different about this one where the whole thing was really slow. It was really good though. I totally appreciate your perspective on why that whole scene was a little slow. So Lulu is badly hurt, and I mean, I guess this is what we talked about last week. We felt she would survive in the end anyway, and she did.
Yeah, I'm just kind of reimagining that scene and cringing. It was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying when, from the minute he knocked on that door, you knew it was him. She's just happy go lucky unlocking the door, and that just everything goes to poop.
I honestly was surprised at the pace of that scene. Like, I was shocked that he just cut to the chase and it wasn't him like continuously misleading her.
Yeah.
I was really taken aback. Like, when he took her license, I was like, oh no, she's gonna see that. He didn't care.
Oh,
It was
it
so well done.
It was very well done. From the minute he took her license, from the minute he said, I gave you so many opportunities to figure this out, just the way, that cold look we keep talking about, that he can be really warm, like when we see him as actual Kevin versus Ryan. And he was just stone cold, staring at Lulu, saying what he needed to say, getting ready to get all stabby.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the whole thing was so good. And I mean, Morlock.Debbie on Instagram said, I have to agree, they performed awesome, and they really did. Both the actor who plays Ryan John Lindstrom and Emmy Ryland, they did really, really good. I didn't know what to think. Like, on Monday when I was watching and he started to confirm those two deaths that went accounted for, I was
Oh,
like, is this one of those things where we think she's going to get it and she doesn't? But she really did. Like, she really started to pick up that something wrong was like that something wrong was going on. But Kevin badgering her, I mean, Ryan badgering her. And he keeps saying, like, I'm not Kevin, I'm not Kevin. Like, I get it. I get that he's saying it and he's like, you're a reporter, figure it out. But honestly, how would she figure out that
oh.
he survived that explosion a bajillion years ago?
I know, like if you laid everything else out, why wouldn't you just lay that part out too?
I know. So that part I was a little bit surprised about, because if he's so, like, he has such an ego and he wants to be rewarded for what he thinks are really good crimes, I guess, and that he got away with his whole scheme, I was surprised he didn't take it a step further to really lay out everything that he did. And so, like, we weren't the only ones that were shocked about how straightforward he was. Donna Lepore Six said, wow, I was shocked that he told Lulu. I didn't think that she would take him down. I had Ava as his match. Boy, will she be pissed when she finds out. Yeah, like, we were talking about this because Lulu is the first one to know and to have contact with with Ryan in this way, with this side of Kevin, if you will. And like we were talking about last week, we did not think that Lulu was going to be that person.
No, I didn't think Lewis knew that person. I still feel that they're going to drag this on a little bit longer. I know how this week ended, and I don't know if we want to touch that just yet. I think that she's going to have lost her memory or something.
I'm just gonna answer that and tell you what I think. I don't think you're wrong, because when she opened her eyes and saw him, there wasn't any hint of fear in Friday's
Yeah,
episode.
that's what I thought too. And I'm like, am I
So,
just like searching? Am I just like, or am I truly seeing what I think I'm seeing?
like we said, Lulu is the beginning. It's still going to go on, and we don't think she's going to be the one to break it wide open. And so we
Hmm.
have Orange Cat 327 that says, I really want Ava to find out first. Hell have no fury like the anger of a mama bear. So I 100% agree with that. I honestly just can't wait for that moment. I can't wait for that moment for Ava to find out. And like Share Giggles, I can't wait to see Ryan go down and everyone in Port Charles's reaction to it. We've talked about this. Like, I cannot wait to see the whole aftermath of everything.
Oh yeah, like Ryan, Kevin, all of the people that look just like him, they have to be voted off the Port Charles Island because we don't know who's who. One has had a mental breakdown and thought he was his brother. Like we just need both of them off the island. Just put them off.
I mean, because like we've talked about, even if, we find Kevin, will be, happy that the right twin is back in the picture. But at the end of the day, he did things that were a bit weird. Like, not only did he keep Ryan captive all these years, but today we find out from Robert that he had something to do with this virus doctor guy.
Yeah. I was like,
So,
oh, what does this mean? This is an
yeah.
interesting turn of events.
So, what has Kevin really been up to? So, that is going to be interesting to see. Once we find Kevin, will people be happy ultimately? It may not be like
Mm.
this magical reunion and restoring of normalcy that we maybe once thought it was going to turn out.
No, I seriously doubt it.
There was also, like we were talking about earlier, their performances were really amazing. And at Chris Hood on Twitter said that was the scariest scene ever. So Ryan was just so slow and deliberate and menacing. Lulu went from
Mhm.
thinking Ryan might be kidding to Kevin thinks he's Ryan. And she wrote, Jeannie Francis equals masterclass, beautiful work all. And they were. I mean, I'd really like to just highlight mostly like Lulu and Ryan in those scenes, but Laura too this week was also really amazing. So, okay, so things move on past the like intense scene in the office, past discovering her body in the Metro Court. More happens this week. So that virus couldn't have come at a better time because that is
I
ultimately
know.
what saved Lulu. Because otherwise, he would have been like, "Oops, didn't finish you off properly," and he would have stabbed her again.
Absolutely. That blindness was incredible because it also led to a clue. I know it's really weird to say, but then there's that like half shoe print, which I love how, why do I always forget her name? Why do I always forget
Jordan,
the Yes, Jordan. I love how she said it's a generic shoe. A lot of men wear it, but maybe this is your shoe when she was talking to
to
Peter.
Peter,
I
I
was
know.
busting out laughing. But just to reel it back into what we're talking about, at least they have something now. They
This
have
is the first
something concrete to go on.
this is the first time they have clues, but the thing is it's just really interesting because there's so many people that are connected to this storyline and may not even know it because we have Anna and Finn and Robert that were dealing with this virus that turned out to be a hell of a lot more exciting than Anna getting a virus once I found out that it was tied to something much larger. You have Lulu doing her investigation and her interactions with him. There's also the actual police investigation, and I mean, I'm thrilled that they collected evidence, but I don't really know if that means anything in the end because, like you said, the whole shoe print was something. But then they talked about like it just sounded so like far fetched. Yes, we have this shoe print, but it didn't sound like you could do much with it
But
other
here's the
than
thing.
maybe bring in a bunch of men and ask about their
But
shoes.
that's the thing. Okay, so I'm gonna put my silly brain, my silly hat on. How many men are there in Port Charles? Like
Two.
10,
No,
right? You bring them all in, you have them bring their shoes in, get their shoe size, knock this out of the park. Like, why is this so
Well,
hard?
we talked about this last week. It should just be like a town meeting type of deal because let's not fool ourselves here. Like the PCBD never solves anything alone. So including the whole town in on this investigation would just be, I think, ideal and help things move along faster. But the thing about the shoes, though, and Lynn Mooney pointed this out. And so she had a few comments for us, but I want to highlight this one. So whoever put his shoes in the bag never saw blood on the bottom of them.
Good point. Good freaking point, man.
And so like I don't understand, like he came in because of blindness. You had another rare case. Would it make sense for his shoes to be all bloody? Like none, like it wouldn't it seem out of the ordinary for you? And not to mention even Ava picked up his shoes in the bag, and I was looking and I don't recall seeing any like bloods like smudges on the bag or anything like that, because I was wondering, would that be a thing where she would like grab the bag and notice the blood on it?
I really thought that was going to be a thing because she said something to the effect of, I want to be helpful. I want to bring your shoes home and clean them. Like she made a reference to something that was kind
Yeah.
of, and I'm like, okay, she's going to find it.
Well, so far she hasn't found squat, and I did
Oh,
think that the whole her taking his shoes would have been a push forward. So that's the thing. Then there's Ava. So there's so many different angles at which point this case can be solved. And I mean, in true JH fashion, I really just think that everybody will figure it out at the exact same time.
oh yeah, 100%. I mean, he still has Lulu on his list, but he still has Carly and Sunny on his list.
Yeah, he does. I don't know if he ever does backsies. Like I put you on my list and maybe I won't do it anymore. So
I
I
know.
don't really know if he still plans on running away with Ava. So I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see on that one. So the thing is, it's just that like Lulu is really hurt. Kind of didn't know which way it would go. Yes, she could survive, but she could have ended up in a coma. There were so many things, and you can see the anguish in Laura, and they also showed scenes with Valentine, Charlotte, and
Nina.
Nina. So I mean, even those, they were all really heart-wrenching. It was really emotional watching Valentine. He was so distraught trying to field all these questions from Charlotte.
Oh, absolutely. And how Laura handled that when Charlotte did come to the hospital with Valentine, how Nina handled, sort of separating herself and saying, I'll be home when you guys get home. Charlotte, Valentine, you go and see Lulu. Everybody just, it was just so nice to see everybody do that and come together for that specific reason. Like, I love that Sunny was there the entire time with
Yeah.
Laura. It was so wonderfully done.
Yes, I just liked the way that it was done. I liked everyone's reactions. I liked that we had a chance to pause and have
Hmm.
Lulu's outcome be a question mark. But I have to say this. I thought Nina and Lulu were in this like closer place in life, that
Hmm.
they thought of each other as family, because when they were like hypothesizing, what if Lulu dies, Nina was like, it would be a loss for all of us, like not just Charlotte. She's like, I really like Lulu. And I'm like, what? Like, I thought it was love. I thought you guys were family. Like, I thought that their relationship was a lot more than just, I like her. I could tolerate her. She's okay.
Me too. I was really surprised by her reaction.
It
But
was a bit
another,
off for me.
it was a bit off. It did remind me though of something else I wanted to tell you. So if when Carly was telling Jason, so there's another situation we're going to get into, I'm sure a little bit later,
Hmm.
but this is when Carly decides to tell Jason and Sam about Lulu.
Yeah,
So
yeah, not much of a reaction there either, because she talks about Lulu and then goes, anyway, back to
anyways,
Joss. I'm
she was, oh my
like,
God, you don't know. Lulu got stabbed. Anyways, Johnson, blah, blah, blah. And I
my
seriously
healthy daughter is trapped
so
in a hole where I could literally put my hand down and touch her. Like, it was like, that whole thing is like on another level, and I mean, we'll definitely get to that.
we have to, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So there was that reaction to Charlotte and Valentine, and also there was a lot of talking about Dante. So could he possibly resurface? I mean, don't you have to? Like when your wife almost dies and like
Right.
you've left your family and your
Right.
children kind of maybe need you? Just wondering.
He might just show up to get the divorce papers signed. We don't know.
Well, I'm excited because I don't know if the real Dante will show up or if we're going to have a recast, because to talk about him this much would make me think that he would come back. And I guess maybe if he didn't, that would be the clincher of you didn't come back home when things were this bad. So I don't know how that's going to play out. I'm looking forward to it. But the fact that they're saying his name means that we might get like this storyline about Lulu and Dante and what's going to happen with their relationship might actually start to really happen. But another thing, I don't know if you caught this. So do you know at all what confidentiality or privacy really means for the PCPD? So I'm confused. This whole time they want to hide from the public that could be a serial killer, because there's no proof really at this point that really confirms this. So Laura is talking to Jordan. Sunny
Mhm.
blatantly asked the question, is this a serial killer? Is it the same person?
Yeah.
Jordan kind of goes on the whole maybe thing and says, this is all confidential. Sunny respectfully walks away, allows them to have their conversation. Then he returns and Laura goes, yes, I've just finished being briefed. It's absolutely the same person who's killing everybody. And I was just like, wasn't, I don't, he, all right. Just I'll go with this. I'm guessing everything stayed confidential. I don't know.
I mean, he's in the business of keeping things confidential. Sunny, I think, is a really good person to trust with any type of information that doesn't need to go anywhere.
I do, but the PCPD, come on. It's like I like, to be honest, I don't actually mind the pacing of this storyline with Ryan, because like I mean for a really long time it was just in the background. Like somebody would get murdered, we deal with the aftermath, and then it might come up again. So that's fine. And even now, I know a lot of people might want it to end quickly, but I kind of don't, because if it ends too quickly, we're not going to get a proper close to the story. And we want there to be a satisfying close to the story. And the worst is the fact that, Jordan is at the hospital, the killer is there, and then she's just
Hmm.
like, Peter, it could have been you. Really, though? Really? Is she
That
the worst? Is she the worst host? Like she had a wedding and didn't recognize the guest that was dead in her honeymoon bed, and then she forgets that all these people she keeps bringing in for questioning and deals with on the regular are all people she's had at her own damn wedding.
oh my God, I didn't even put that together. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so okay, talking about the PCPD, shouldn't there have been security outside Lulu's room?
Yeah. Like, isn't the whole point she survived the
Yeah,
attack of a serial killer
yeah,
and she's the only person who knows his identity?
yeah.
Uh, I mean, he's been doing a good job so far. I don't think he wants to go out like this, and I'm pretty sure he'd want Lulu dead, no? Because otherwise he'd go to jail. So why they're not like handling this with a bit more seriousness is just beyond me.
Yeah, that was what I like. I was sitting back, I was thinking about, the week, the episode, and I'm like, wait a second, something's off. Where's security? Where's
Ex-
police officers?
Exactly. So, like Heather J. Chin said, yeah, I was hoping they'd fake her death. Dumb cops. It was weird how I like New Jordan's tough first persona for the first time, but she was interrogating the wrong person. And then somebody
Yes.
else, and I mean, look, it's Brown Sugar Baby 2018 said, oh, come on. You got to be kidding me. How incompetent is the PCP? Peter did not try to kill Lulu or anybody. Yeah, they are
Yes,
incompetent. We've been saying
they
that for like
are
the
incompetent.
longest time. It's just really bad. It's really
There
bad.
were more police officers hanging out in front of like where they thought the catacombs would be doing absolutely nothing. There was at least four police officers. So, but why weren't they anywhere else? They were just hanging around looking for a hole.
No, not only was there no police protecting Lulu, everybody was running around telling everyone at the hospital what's gone on. I mean, Elizabeth, first of all, I don't even know if Elizabeth should have been helping in the situation.
Right?
I mean, they're family, but whatever. But then when she sees Anna, she's like, Anna, by the way, I got to brief you because you're a patient at the hospital. Lulu's just been stabbed and Kevin's coming blind. And then we come to know where Anna later on says, well, yeah, I mean, I know of Kevin. We have mutual friends, but like, I don't know him well. So it's just, again, why are you telling Anna all of this information? So everyone is sharing, and then Finn feels like, oh, Ava, you're concerned, and sick Ryan, you're concerned. So let's just keep you up to date on Lulu's condition. I mean, there's other
Oh
incidences
my
where they go and they try to ask for how someone's doing, and they go, I'm sorry, I can't release that information. And it's just like, that's not true. You do it all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was pretty funny that all that stuff was going on and that everybody had play by play.
Yeah, so the whole time, so that was just ridiculous. Like you said, it seems like no one is considering Lulu's safety right now. But I do have to say one thing about the virus and about Anna. So, I've been a little bit annoyed with Anna when it comes to the whole Peter thing. I didn't really like the way that she was using Brit to get to Obrecht.
Yes.
So I have like a super funny comment on this. This is from Twitter at the Pretty Pixie. She wrote, personally, I hope Anna contracted the virus that made her blind when she left the country to get Obrecht. It's fitting. She faked Brit having a virus to lure in Liesel and instead ended up contracting one herself. That's instant karma.
Oh my
I
God, I kind of
super
love it.
I super enjoyed that comment because I'm like, yeah, that whole thing went full circle. I mean, like Anna's technically the good guy in all of this, but I really didn't like the things that she was doing when it came to Brit and Obrecht.
I
Let her get away with
oh,
whatever it is she did. Oh yeah,
I
hurting her son.
know.
Still, let her get away with it. She's not coming back.
He's alive.
That's what I'm saying. So, like you pointed out, there was way more cops at the catacombs. But did you notice that the moment the cops couldn't find Carly or Drew, they're like, okay, guys, well, we can't really find anyone that's missing, and we can't find the people who called us. So let's just take off and go deal with the more exciting case of Lulu getting
Yes, I was
stabbed.
like,
Did you notice that? I'm like,
is
is that how
that
you is that how that works?
apparently in Port Charles anything flies. But what I did love the scene right after is I feel like they needed capes. So the four of them, Jason, Sam, Carly, Drew, they were like freaking superheroes running around trying to find the place. They found this super not deep hole, saw the kids in there,
Yeah.
band together to save them. But I felt like there should have been like superhero music. I really like the foursome.
Well, I mean, I liked that they were all together, and I mean, I don't know, I like a few podcasts ago, I was saying it looks like Drew is coming back into the fold, and a lot of people have been hoping for Jason and Drew to have more interactions, and then here we are having the four of them together. Like, obviously, the Joss and Oscar storyline is, hopefully going to bring Carly and Drew kind of back to being friends.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Drew might be more open to having these people in his life because I think he is kind of mad that they sort of chose Jason over him. But I before we keep talking about this, I have to kind of echo a little bit of what we're saying. So at Catherine W25 said this: forgive my insensitivity, but I had a hard time getting emotionally involved in Joss and Oscar's rescue from the 10-foot hole. I was like, I 100% agree. Like, I felt the same way. I couldn't care less. Like, I was just like, what the hell is happening? And I loved how they, like, when they did get rescued, that like Oscar was yelling down the hole at
Yeah.
Joss. And I'm looking at my TV laughing, and I'm like, you don't have to yell. Like, you guys are not that far. Like, I just like, the whole thing was just so funny and ridiculous, because even last week when they were like, the three of them were together, Cam, Joss, and Oscar, and they kept talking about the catacombs, I'm not gonna lie, I had anxiety since back then, because I'm like, oh man, these kids want to go underground. Tell me what good things happen when anybody goes underground in a soap opera. It's
Oh,
like the
right?
same when they film a scene and everyone's getting in a car. Somebody's gonna die. You're all in a car, you're gonna crash. So I was nervous about them being underground. And at first, nothing seemed all that dramatic. They were just sitting there talking. And the whole time, like, oh my God, can you just stop talking and just get out of this stupid hole? And then he has this seizure. And then him and Joss go on and on about getting help. All like,
Yeah.
it was like a lot of like forced and created drama. Oscar, his seizure was over. He could have went up the ladder in front of her, if anything, if she was scared. Or she could have ran up and just called for help and sat at the top of the hole and looked at him.
Right? It
Okay,
felt okay, so
so many
so
things
many.
here. So many things here. You could have been like, okay, well, if you're not having a seizure in the next 5 minutes, then let's try that plan and get us both out. But it was ridiculous, from his seizure to her climbing and then falling back down.
Oh,
And then to everyone getting rescued. So like, none of this was all that dramatic, but then the drama was constantly being conjured up. So everyone leaves and Jason's like, this whole thing is going to cave in. And he's obviously so sweet. He doesn't grab Sam's hand, but later on she
mhm.
gets to take credit for saving him, which I absolutely love, that she threw in his
Yay!
face. So those long dramatic things happen. Once again, first responders are there. No one's able to do anything. They're like, Jason fell, we can't locate him, we must get a map, and all of this complicated things. I'm like, but he fell down the hole.
Like
Like, he fell
straight
down a
down.
hole straight down. You're at a construction site. Is there not like a crane? Is there
Or a
not like a
giant
device
flashlight.
you can, yeah, light, an extra, something. Can you lower something on a rope? I don't know. I'm just thinking rope could help in some way in this situation. So they can't do anything. And Sam's like, screw this. I'm going to go handle this myself. And once again, I don't know what the first responders ended up doing. I don't know if they
They're
ended up
still
getting
looking. They're
I
still
don't know if they got the
looking.
floor plan, but Sam and Jason were doing it by the time they probably got the floor plan. And that's the thing. When the whole thing was over, I realized, did they like conjure up this insane dramatic event just so Sam could finally be like, I really want to do it with him?
Hello, yes, you're not letting me interject at all. You told the whole story.
Sorry.
So
What did
that's
you
what I
want
was
to
gonna
say?
say. So that's what I was gonna say from the
What
very
part? I
beginning.
said all of it. Which of those parts did you want to say?
From the minute they got trapped in the catacombs and the foursome were there, I was like, yep, something's gonna happen to Jason. Sam's gonna have to go to who owns scuba gear? Jumps into the cold
She
water.
does.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
She used to be a she remember she dove in to find him when he like got shot, and
Yes.
like this whole scene was once again on the pier that she had lost him at. So that too is also really dramatic.
It was all full circle, very dramatic. What I
Yeah.
thought was funny too when they took a shower and they were in the room. Remember, I said at one point, I wish soap opera actors would just hang out in their jogging pants. And then when I saw Jason in his jogging pants and a t-shirt, I was like, oh my God, who's listening to us?
And whose joggers were they? They don't live together. Were those Druzel things?
Oh my God, I didn't even think of that. That's kind of weird.
I was like, where did he get clothes from?
Oh my God. But yeah, I love that whole like, here's some brandy, go take a shower. You were like, everything was so perfectly played. The grilled cheese, the cute little banter, the boasting about her saving him. How are we going to tell our son? And he's like, what do you mean? How are we going to tell him? I love that. You know what I mean? Mommy saved daddy.
That whole thing was adorable. She's trying to get him drunk. He's trying to get her to take a shower because he's like, "You're disgusting from jumping into that water." It was, and even her expressions when he was like, "Do you want me to put you in there?" Like her expression was so amazing and so funny. But you keep referring to them as like for superheroes working together, and I mean, yes, I did see it like that, and I'm thinking, okay, is this what it's going to be like going forward? That they're gonna, you know, everyone is going to be friends. Everyone is going to be okay. But there was a really awkward moment when Sam was trying to show her concern for Oscar. When, like, so Drew was taking him to leave to the hospital. And so Sam's walking up, but she's kind of like tentative. She's not getting too close. Oscar's thanking her, but Drew seemed kind of annoyed. I don't know if he was just panicked and wanting to take his son to the hospital. I don't know if he was annoyed at the situation, annoyed that he blames Joss, but he seemed annoyed and wanting to just get away from his interaction with Sam.
I don't know. He doesn't have many facial expressions. I don't necessarily think it was annoyance. I just think he wanted to rush into the hospital. And I think more so it was panic.
Panic. Okay. But you're right about him not having many expressions. So it's always really hard to know what he's thinking.
Right. And then also what I was thinking when I saw the four of them together, I'm like, look at these girls. They have two Jasons with them.
Oh, yeah.
They each have
Double
their
the
own thing planned.
fun. Do you know what's even
Right?
funnier? Both of them can't cook and they both have a Jason.
Yes, I thought I never really put that together, that comparison, how she gets talking about like waffles from the freezer and how she can make him chicken tenders for dinner. I didn't know that Sam was not so great in the kitchen and neither is Carly, and they both really love junk food. It's
How do you
hilarious.
not know that? I thought it was hilarious
Oh,
when she said, I'm going to make you something to eat. I think Johnny was watching with me at the same time, and I started laughing because I literally said, but she can't cook. And then she started talking about the whole chicken tenders thing, and I started laughing.
oh my God, that's so cute. Okay, so we're talking about the two Jasons. There are two moments. So there was a moment with Carly and Drew, which was really sweet. There was that friendship kind of reconnection scene with her and Jason. And when she asked if he was okay and she hugged him, and Jason said to Carly, I haven't been better in like 6 years. And her eyes lit up and she knew that they had did it and that they were together now. And then they sat down and she talked about Sam and how she's okay. She's almost good enough for you, and then held his hand. Then I kind of paused there for a second. So, like, her relationship with Jason and her relationship with Drew is pretty damn strong. But I think it's interesting that Carly's in the middle of these two, like, Jason type relationships right now.
I don't feel like they're like, I just find that they're two separate things. Like, she's literally crossing two storylines. And I don't know if you noticed, they really do keep Drew in his lane. They keep him in the whole Oscar lane. So when you see Carly with Drew, I feel like that's them doing their whole storyline and possibly getting to renew their friendship. And then when you see Carly and Jason, I really feel like that's just their history and their always thing. Like, I mean, there's a huge history between Carly and Sam. She hated Sam at the start, and obviously
I
nobody was ever
know.
good for him. So when she said all those things, it was also showing how far she's come with Sam. And also, it's just a bestie thing. Hello, he comes and says, I've never been like I've been better than I have in 6 years." She knew in that moment he finally
It
had
was
sex.
so cute. And I love that she's like, can I tell Sunny?
The whole thing was hilarious. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Carly has a friendship with both of them. And I think that's the hope, is that Drew kind of gets pulled into the fold, because at this point, I find he's just kind of a little isolated
He
from all the
is. And I guess
people
what
he
I'm
used to
trying to
interact with.
say, yeah, I guess I'm trying to say, like, she seems to be like the center of things now. And I really like that. Like, she has her different relationships with all of them, but I feel like it's shifting and she's the center of that friendship.
Yeah, more than just a center. I think with Jason, especially, like that whole, because like we've talked in the past, we made that funny comment a while back that like every Carly, it was somebody's comment on Instagram, every Carly needs her Jason. But I felt like
Yeah.
Friday's scene together, it was more like every Jason needs its Carly. And so I
Yes.
feel like her insanity, all the things that she does, being so heavily involved in his relationship, I feel like for the first time, like that was all validated.
Oh, yeah. I really like that.
So yeah, so they finally did it, and we can all move on with our lives.
Oh, thank goodness. Whew.
But the one thing, okay, so I know that I've been really irritated with how long that that's gone on. But the way Sam was today, it was kind of like I, for the first time, understood that more than just her not wanting to lose herself when she decides to jump back into a relationship, is that I never
Mhm.
realized that it would have been traumatic for her. Like when she talked about the fact that, well, things are good now. And it reminds me about when you died because things were good then. And then you walked out the door. And I never even thought about that.
Me neither. My heart ached for her because all of that is valid and would be incredibly traumatizing.
So I kind of hope that she gets to get past that, because the last time we saw Sam super anxious, I mean, the whole thing was attributed to some strange virus, brain virus. So I mean, I don't think this is a brain virus.
Oh, okay,
we,
okay.
we we want Sam to be happy, and we want Sam to
Yes.
find peace. It's like we're finally together. We obviously don't want her to be anxious with it, but I guess ignoring that fact wouldn't be realistic, I guess. But for me today, when I saw all those scenes with Sam and her being nervous, to me that sort of justified how long they took. And going back to Jason and Carly, I just thought that was funny because I felt like GH was just also making fun of itself when it was just like, finally, what took you so long? So I just thought that was kind of cute too, just acknowledging. I'm sure they got a lot of flack for how long this sort of took.
Oh my God, I bet there's before we move on from the whole Jason and Sam situation about Jason and Joss when they were in the hole.
Oh yeah.
I loved their interactions together. There's one line specifically that I so loved. She said something like, "Thank you for rescuing me." And Jason said to Joss, "All I did was give you a boost. You rescued yourself." And I was like, oh my God, that's like a life lesson. It's so cute.
It was I feel like he's just speeding up the Carly training with Joss. He's like, let's just make you all independent and all good to go, and minus the crazy as soon as possible. But their interactions, I mean, we know I think he's her godfather. And it was just a very intense exchange. Like I feel like the first intense exchange between Joss and Jason was when she got mad at him for
Yes.
not telling her. And then we're seeing how strong that relationship is. So echoing kind of, her mom has a strong relationship with Jason, and you can't be this close to Carly and not have that same intense relationship with her daughter as well. But it was just really interesting to see because we haven't seen it before, how strong and close that they are.
Oh, it was beautiful. I loved it.
And so, just since we're talking about Joss and the whole Oscar thing, and I mean, it was kind of cool to just have the focus be on his adventures with Joss and a little less on his illness this week. But there is something interesting. I mean, again, we don't know if he's going to live or die, but at the Pretty Pixie on Twitter said, if Oscar survives, I feel the surgery will change his personality and reactions in a way that causes a huge impact for all in his life. It will change all of his relationships, like when Jason Quartermain became Jason Morgan.
Okay.
And
Well, sorry,
and
I'm
I
gonna let you
mean,
react and I'm gonna react.
I just thought that was really crazy and interesting because we've hypothesized a lot about what could happen with Oscar, but this one we've never touched on.
Okay, so here's the thing. When they were in that hole
Mm-hmm.
and he was getting mad with her, almost to the point of like anger, when he like reached out for her, when Oscar, I think he was, yeah, he was reached out for Joss. She was about to climb the ladder. He was getting really upset that she wanted to leave or something like that. And she's like, whoa, get your hands off me or stop doing that. It's
Mm-hmm.
interesting what you're saying about the comment because what if that's like his other side?
The other side of his personality being a more aggressive person as opposed
Aggressive,
to this like docile, I'll go
right?
along with whatever Jocelyn wants. But I just love
Right.
that, like, I mean, Jocelyn will go to the ends of the earth to prove a point. Like, this girl fell from a ladder and she got up and was still arguing. It was hilarious.
It's like now you
Like,
know
she's,
how I feel.
yeah, she's absolutely 100% her mother's daughter.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Super duper quick notice, and I want to know what you think about this. Shiloh and Alexis.
Oh my gosh. That was the
Okay,
funniest recap of the absurdity that is all of that.
right, but when Shiloh first laid eyes on Alexis, I feel like he gave her like a once over and a smirk. Like, oh, how you doing?
Oh, that would be so gross. Like, I, I'd rather her continue to stalk Julian and Kim than to see any of that. Because how terrible would that be? They're literally looking into Shiloh's absurdity, and here she is being like, he may be gross, but I think I'm into that. So I would freak out if anything like that were to happen. But I have to say, Alexis could be really annoying. But in her scene with him, that's the Alexis I love. Just going at him.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, not in that way, but yes, I did
Ew,
like that
yeah.
scene very much. Okay, but I'm going to take it back just one more second, just for what I was saying. So Sam was with the guy who was much, much older, stole all the money. For a split second, if Shyla was with Alexis, would that be some sort
No,
of
no, no,
revenge
no,
for him? No, okay,
no,
we're moving
no,
on.
no, no,
Moving on.
no, no,
Moving
no,
on.
no.
Moving
Alexis cannot be like, oh my gosh, between her and Christina, like it's just stupidity after stupidity. The one thing that I wondered was when he left Alexis and said that wasn't, let's say, the worst cross-examination I've ever had. And he said
on.
cross-examination. So I'm wondering, has there been legal troubles? And is she smart enough to like go, let me just look into his legal past?
I agree. I hope she's smart enough. And I did notice that he left $10 on the table for his coffee.
I did not notice that. So I guess they are pointing to a money trail. Like there's a lot more going on here. And that's the point. It's a
Yes.
cult. It can't all be charity work. There has to be a lot more darkness underneath. But it would be kind of cool if Alexis could participate in solving stuff.
I think so too. Just bring out a different side of her and she can contribute to this. And maybe Christina can connect with her in a different way.
So since we're talking about Alexis, we might as well talk about Charlie's.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So before we jump into anything, so people just go like hang out at Charlie's and never buy anything. Like, how does he make any money?
It's like a hangout. I mean, I didn't understand
Brad?
what's his name? Brad going there hoping not to bump into him. He's like always
I
there.
was, oh my gosh, I was laughing so hard. I'm like, seriously, seriously, of all the places you can go, just like
Like he
Lucas said,
can't
like
be
of
the
all the places.
But it's kind of like the week before when Elizabeth meets the teacher at Charlie's and Willow said the student's mother or parent selected the place. And then Elizabeth is giving Julian side eye and attitude for being there and offering to get her a cup of coffee. It's like, okay, everybody, he works there. You're going to see him there. If you don't want to see him, then you shouldn't be going to Charlie's.
They must make a good cup of coffee or something because everybody's always stopping there for a coffee.
It's the avocado toast, and I definitely want to, like, I really want to eat from these places. They talk about the menu and they talk about all the drinks they have. It all sounds amazing, but I don't know what happened this week. Like Julian was like, what, looking to pick a fight?
I don't know. His interaction with Michael was next level. I did not expect him to for Julian to say all those things to Michael. I like the way Michael carried himself. I like the way he responded to him and said, even though he may think certain things, it is not his place to judge Julian. I was like, wow.
I like that for sure. But I also thought, so Michael and Julian's interaction, it was amazing. So, like we said, Julian looks like he's starting some trouble over Lucas's choice, but Michael can't really answer that. It's your son who decided not to have you in his baby's life, not necessarily in his life, but the baby's life because that's what the adoptive mother wanted. But this is the first time in a long time that I feel like Michael has been more than just an accessory. This is the first time I've seen Michael kind of like give it a punch and really go at somebody.
Oh, that's a really good point. That is a really good point. He had a really great scene, said everything he needed to say, was very, everything was very pointed. He explained things very well. And yeah, it's true. I didn't think about it that way. Good
I
point.
miss I miss that Michael who's just a little bit more like attuned to things. But
Yeah.
but like, did you notice how amazing that baby was? So like it was
Oh.
hilarious because Lucas is really upset, but the baby can't stop smiling. So you see Lucas being all mad and the baby's being hilarious. And then in the scenes with like Willow and Michael, the baby is like playing with its tongue.
I know, it's
So
so cute.
Willow's like super sad and like Michael, I'm sorry, but this is what I mean. You have the Michael with Julian and then you have the Michael with Willow. You've literally gone to like grief counseling with this girl. You're holding a baby. She's there. She seems really taken aback. She like hovers her finger around the baby's hands. No one does that for that length of time and then removes it and runs away. That's not typical behavior. And the fact that it took so long for him to like make the connection that she might be sad or hurt, I was like, see, that's the Michael you've been seeing a lot of lately. Maybe he like lost all his brain power after everything that happened with him and Nell.
That he likes her, so he gets all stupid.
I hope so. I really hope so. I'm just wondering if he's ever been confident when he likes a girl, but honestly, she's not for him. She's hanging with Chase, and I like it. And I think she likes it too because she started to open up to him. Michael, at one point, was the first person she told, and they had that sort of bonded connection. And that was that one area of her life that she needs to talk about. And Michael was the only one that had access, but now so does Chase. So the whole thing with like Willow and Chase, when she starts talking about the baby's father, she said he can't be involved for multiple reasons. And I'm just throwing this out there, and I really hope it's not true and it's just a rando.
Hmm.
But I don't know Willow's story. I don't know if she just moved to Port Charles or always lived here. And also, if the baby's daddy was Shiloh, wouldn't she know that Dawn of Day was located in Port Charles?
Whoa, that would be so messed up.
Yeah, it
I
is.
don't
It
even want
would
to make
be
my brain
so.
go there.
No, 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 no. I'm throwing it out there, but I'm just
Take
gonna
it
like
back.
run away from it
Back.
really fast. So honestly, even though it's a tough storyline, it's also really heartwarming to see how everyone is rallying around Aiden. The storyline has been growing slowly for a while now. And so it's just been amazing this week. So just all the scenes with Franco supporting Aiden.
I loved the scene with Franco and the boys when they went shopping and then they decided to do some late night baking and keep the kids up late and how much fun they were having and how they were tasting the batter of like the cupcake and it was so delicious and the compliments they were giving him. It was just so wonderful and how Franco also expressed his feelings to Elizabeth saying, yes, I kept the kids up late, but it is the most fun I've had and the best memory that I'll keep in my heart forever. Like it was so sweet.
It was, but I'm just kind of wondering how late was it? How was it Cameron, the teenager, was in bed before these two got home from shopping?
I know. I thought that was really funny.
It was hilarious
Couldn't
that
have
they
been that
included
late.
Cam in the whole thing. So, just some comments about this storyline. So, Cherry Grandma from Instagram wrote, great storyline. I really agree. Like, I love how complex the storyline has become. And also, Walk With Me, Mistress Dare said, okay, so this is interesting. She says, Aiden can love to bake and not be gay because that's something that came out this week. The children are calling him that to be mean and spiteful. So, this comes out when Jake, so I guess he's taking his brother's advice, Cameron, who really pushed him to step up for Aiden because he goes to school with him. And so then Jake comes down and shows the parents. And I'm so glad he let them know that he was being bullied online as well, because I think the more we can disconnect him from the bullying, the better. So we can have way more fun when he's not at school. But this is what I love about the storyline is that it's really complex. And I think a lot of people are taking issue with them sort of making the whole baking and being gay sort of synonymous when it isn't. The way I'm looking at it is that I feel like they're exploring two separate avenues. They're exploring what happens to a child when they don't conform to gender norms. And then they're also looking at it in this other perspective. What if my child is gay? And so we're seeing all these questions being posed, and I like the way Elizabeth put it because we don't know if Aiden's gay. He's young. We don't know if his
Absolutely.
mind is even there. And so there's that reality, but she also posed another important question. What does this even mean for a kid his age? So I just kind of love GH for this, for just putting out really tough topics and just putting out all of these questions so people can start talking about it and having a dialogue. So I really, really like this storyline.
Me too. I commend them. Everything you said, I concur.
And more than that, I'm just happy. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen next week or the week after, but I kind of like that the stress this week has been taken off of Aiden and maybe put on the parents. Because this week we got to see Aiden happy, but we also
Yes.
saw Elizabeth and Franco dealing with some stress. Even Jake dealing with some stress and showing how bullying is more than just Aiden being hurt, but the toll it takes on the entire family. But on the brighter side, Aiden
Hmm.
was on Grey's Anatomy last night.
Oh my gosh, I have to catch up on my episodes.
Yeah, so I had tweeted out that if the bullying doesn't stop, this kid's gonna stay in Seattle and he's gonna stay on Grey's Anatomy. So I thought that was really cool. And interestingly, earlier that day, yesterday, I was watching Grace and Frankie, and Jake was on one of the episodes. And then later on, I was watching Grey's Anatomy, and Aiden was on one of the episodes. So a lot of amazing stuff happening for the Weber boys. Maybe we
Good
can see
for
Cameron
them.
on another show. So that was
Oh,
really cool. That was so cool to see him on another show.
I love it when that
Both of
happens.
them, yeah. So Anna's been busy this week. She goes to work with her boyfriend and also attends police interrogations with her son.
It's just like she shadows everybody.
Oh my gosh, when she walked in, I love Ava's reaction because Ava's playing this really interesting role because she doesn't know a lot of the history. So I love her reaction when she's learning about Kevin because she's not pretending she knows who he is and all of his history. And I also love her reaction to things like, you're a doctor, you're some kind of a cop. What the hell are you doing here? Like I love her reactions to these things.
Oh my God, it was great. And it's funny seeing her in that role too in general, trying to be the person who takes care of. We don't often see her in that role. Yes, he's a psycho
That's
killer, but seeing
mhm.
the softer side is very interesting.
I think that's what it was because that's what I'm not used to. And there was something different about her. And that's the thing, too. I think, not only is she taking care of someone, but she also feels loved and feels accepted. And she's moved on from Griffin. So I feel like, all in all, she's lighter. So, like, when she sees Griffin, she's not angry at him anymore. If anything, she feels kind of sorry for him because at the end of the day, she did date him. She does know him. And she knows that he's not looking so good.
No, so do we think that he's in a fight club?
That or he can't punch a bag real well, or possibly needs to go to a barber rather than shave his
I
own face and forehead.
know. Even
I,
forehead,
I,
like
I don't recommend shaving a forehead. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know if he's getting into fights. I mean, I feel like it's like a logical conclusion. That or he's just tripping all over the sidewalks. I don't know.
or he just has a really hairy forehead. We don't know.
It's very possible. But I mean, I kind of like angry Griffin. I kind of like him just not giving a crap. I like the stupid answers he gives to Ava, like, oh, I got myself shaving. And like, even the way he was dealing with Ryan, Ryan's like, should I get someone else? I was confused, okay? Because I'm like, okay, what do you mean should you get somebody else? Because I was under the impression that Griffin did the surgery.
Yeah.
Because if he didn't do the surgery and he's only there to undo your bandage,
The
like,
heart
what's your
over.
freaking concern? And he's there to what? Tell you if you can see? No, you're there to tell us if you can see. Like, what is happening here? And I love he's like, I think I can handle it, and just kind of like does it, and like he just doesn't care. And like Ava's trying to have this conversation with him about Lulu, and he didn't even really care about Lulu either. He doesn't care about anything.
I know. I love it. Dark Griffin.
So, what about Maxie this week? That was really emotional. She had some emotional scenes at Nathan's gravesite.
I thought it was so beautiful the way she was having these conversations with him about sports and the Yankees and all that stuff going on. It's just sweet just seeing this, I guess fake interaction with Nathan or her asking for advice or whatever it may be. She's searching for something, which is Peter. But in all of this and the crying and the connecting with her departed husband, she says a Maxie thing, which always, I love her. I love her character. She says something to the effect while she's crying that waterproof mascara comment she made. She's like, can someone up
Yeah.
there help someone down here make a truly waterproof mascara? I'm like, this girl needs a makeup line.
I love how she lightened that whole moment. And I mean, yeah, she was basically just looking for a sign that it was okay to move on. It's hard to let go. And I'm sure there's a lot of guilt about not just moving on, but moving on with his brother.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of that there, but I mean, I don't know if she's looking for a sign. Isn't like your man friend showing up at the gravesite the sign?
That is like the only sign. That is the sign.
So I hope she understands it. So Peter's with Maxie at the gravesite, and then from there, it's like all hell breaks loose, and he's being interrogated because apparently, when your employees don't agree with you, the most appropriate response is murder
Of course.
because that's what they think of
Hello.
him. I'm just like, I mean, look, I get it. They have to explore every possible option. He was the last phone call, but why wouldn't you just sort of like ask some questions? Like, Jordan just seems sort of convinced.
I know. But for no good reason. What
But I
reason does
mean,
she have?
but it was really interesting because they didn't really kind of fill us in. All you saw to kick off the whole like, let's go after Peter was Anna trying to comfort Laura, and then her being so cold. I'm like, why is Laura being so cold? And then we come to find out that Peter is sort of a person of interest. So anyways, he goes down to the police station later on, and I love that obviously common sense outdoes anything the PCPD can put forth. I love that, like, not only did he clear himself, he was like, I was at your wedding. If you think I'm a serial killer, I was at your wedding and I was there the whole time and I didn't kill Kiki.
And then she's like, I went through the video from the videographer.
Of my own wedding that I invited you to. You attended so kindly. Thank you for the gift. Like, it's just awkward. It's so freaking awkward. But I have to admit, like, I loved how annoyed he was. Like, oh, you're following me into the interrogation room. Like, his mom was just everywhere.
I love how he was talking to her though. Actually, you know what? Let's take this a step back. He was Nina's date, so technically he wasn't invited.
No, he wasn't directly invited, but he was still at your damn wedding.
I know. But yes, I jumping back to Peter and Anna's interaction. She's just following him and he's just blasting her and she's just there. But it was really like a great relationship. It wasn't Anna being sucky. She was just being strong and she's like, "What, do you want to be convicted for murder?" And he's like, "No, but why are you here?" It was like a son mom type interaction on their level.
You know what? I'm gonna say I enjoy that specific dynamic, and if that
Mhm.
dynamic can be what it is moving forth, I like it because with Robin and Anna, they're close, but she holds Anna up on a pedestal. And in her
Yes.
relationship with Peter, he really doesn't because he's like, "You abandoned me, so I don't think you're that amazing." So I kind of like that. Is that he's coming from a place where he doesn't think she's amazing, and a lot of people in her life do, and she isn't always. So this is going to be a different kind of relationship for her to have.
I love it. I like the whole idea of like Anna and Finn and their funny interaction, and then Anna and Peter, and exactly like what you said. It's just he doesn't treat her like everybody else does.
No. And so if he can kind of continue to do that, I think it'll be really enjoyable to see them together. So he finally gets her to go. That's what he's wanting to get to go. And so then him and Maxie are sharing really cute stories about James. And what's really amazing is that Peter clears himself right in time to play Uncle Dad to James.
I freaking love that. Yes, it was so adorable, and they're gonna go and hang out with that cute little boy.
Maxine just needs to stop being surprised when Peter kind of alludes to the fact that she's super important. Like, I didn't think it was a mystery that they were dating, but it still seems to be a mystery to Maxie though. Because like Peter, when he gives her those looks, he gives her those looks.
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, it's like the triangle that Kim didn't know about. Maxie doesn't know she's dating Peter. People need to get clued in.
But she's asking him out and stuff. How do you not know that you're dating somebody you're asking out?
Well,
Anyways,
maybe her kid doesn't sleep at night and she just doesn't remember what she does.
well, hopefully her exchange with Nathan might help her open up to Peter a little bit more. The whole, like, I'm not gonna lie, the whole thing is weird. It is her ex's brother, but at the end of the day, they're getting along. They got chemistry. Let them be happy.
Exactly. I agree.
So I think that was it for this week.
Holy moly, we did it.
Yes, we did. So have a great weekend.
You too. Love ya. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.